Hey everyone, it's Charles from Team Integrity here, coming back at you with a brand new segment called YGO, where players fighting for a variety of prizes and bragging rights using duel monsters. Coming up. First and foremost, you need a main deck, which must be 40 to 60 cards. The main deck is comprised of monsters, spells, and trap cards. Other than following the instructions on the cards, there are certain rules and limitations that aren't stated on the cards themselves. For instance, you can only normal summon once during your turn, but you are allowed to do as many special summons as possible as long as you follow the conditions. To normal summon a monster, the number of stars they have, which determines their levels, has to be between 1 through 4. However, if the level of the monster is 5 through 6, you must send one monster you already control to the graveyard to summon it, while level 7 or higher monsters require 2 monsters you control to be sent to the graveyard. You can either summon them face up, which is attack position, or put them face down sideways, which is defense position, called setting. Additionally, spell cards and trap cards can also have limitations, as spell cards can only be activated from your hand during your turn, and trap cards can only be activated the turn after you set them face down on the field. That's really all you need in order to duel, but you should also be aware that there is another type of deck, which is the extra deck. As it just stated, an extra deck isn't necessary for a duel, but is preferred by many duelists as it gives them more utility in defeating their opponent. The extra deck consists of At-Seas monsters, Synchro monsters, and Fusion monsters, which can be used during the game if you meet certain requirements. For instance, to At-Seas summon a monster, you must control 2 monsters or multiple monsters of the same level, stack them on top of each other, and stack the At-Seas monster. Synchro monsters also utilize the levels of monsters you control. To synchro summon a monster, you must send one tuner monster and as many number of non-tuner monsters you control to the graveyard when the sum of all their levels is exactly the level of the synchro monster, and then you can synchro summon. However, fusion monsters focus on specific monsters you control. To fusion summon, you must control certain monsters listed and combine them with a summoning card like Polymerization. And finally, I'll teach you guys how to duel. A duel progresses in a series of turns which are divided into phases. These phases include draw phase, standby phase, main phase 1, battle phase, main phase 2, and end phase. Also, both players start off with 5 cards, 8,000 life points, and the player that's chosen to go first from rock, paper, scissors, flipping a coin, or rolling the dice skips their draw phase and battle phase entirely until their next turn. Now let's break down these phases. Within the draw phase, a player must draw 1 card from their main deck. If they are unable to, they lose the game. The standby phase is simply used when certain cards state to take a specific action, otherwise just ignore it. In main phase 1, a player can normal summon or set a monster, change the battle position of a monster, activate cards effect, or even set spells and trap cards if they desire. In the battle phase, you are allowed to attack once each with your monsters against your opponent's monsters. If both monsters are in an attack position, the monster with less attack is destroyed and its controller takes damage equal to the difference. If they have equal attack, both are destroyed. If a monster is in defense position and it has less defense than the attacking monster's attack points, it's destroyed but no one takes damage. If it has more defense points than the attacking monster's attack points, the difference comes out of the life points of the controller of the attacking monster. If both defense and attack are equal, nothing happens. If your opponent has no monsters, you attack directly, subtracting your full monster's attack from your opponent's life points. The player whose life points is reduced to 0 loses the duel. Nets in main phase 2 do basically what you didn't do in main phase 1. Finally, in the end phase, resolve any effects that state this phase, and if you have more than 6 cards in your hand, discard cards till you have just 6. Now that's a basic overview which you guys need to know in order to learn how to duel. Now in the description below you'll be provided links on things I may not have covered throughout this video, and if you found this video informative, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I shall catch you guys later. See ya.